back early in the year, around quarantine, there was a huge debate sparked. This debate is whether police brutality is an issue and whether it's something we should do something about. Some of you in here think no, it's not an issue, and some of you like me that think yes, it is very much an issue. I'm going to be taking you through why police brutality is an issue, what we can do about it, what it could look like, and then conclude it. So the first real issue, the biggest one, is that there's a lot of unnecessary violence taking place. There's a quote here from humanrightswatch.org on September 30th, 2020. It says, "Police in many places responded to these protests with unnecessary and excessive force and other abuses, beating up protesters, mass arrests, and using military force to discourage protests." And that's really like taking away from the people's right to protest and have an opinion on these things and to bring about change. The second issue is something I've heard brought up a few times, and it's the issue of no-knock warrants. And the Cornell Law School describes a no-knock warrant as a search warrant authorizing officers to enter premises without knocking or announcing their presence first. This means that they can just barge into your home. They don't have to announce why they're there, that they are officers, and they could really be going for the house next to yours. They could be wrong. So, for the solutions, one solution I found is that we should end broken windows policing. Now, broken windows policing is when the police officers focus on lower level crimes and really spend most of their time arresting people for like marijuana use, loitering, stuff like that. A quote here from Campaign Zero by Sam Yang Wei, who is a data scientist. He states that a vast majority of arrests are for low-level, non-violent activities that escalate to violence. Police killed at least 289 people who were involved in minor offenses like sleeping in parks, possessing drugs, looking suspicious, or having a mental health crisis. And while that would probably help minimize the amount of police brutality that we see, I don't think that's really the solution that would be the be-all, end-all to satisfy everybody. My solution is to reallocate the funds to experts. In an interview with the former Dallas police chief on the Washington Post, he states that we're just asking us to do too much. Every societal failure we put off for the cops to solve. Policing was never meant to solve these problems. I think that if there is somebody who is having a mental health crisis, or there is somebody that is just acting strangely, you shouldn't call the cops on them. You should send a mental health expert to try and talk them down, to try and de-escalate the situation, and not try and arrest them and force them down, force them into a police car. And in this speech, I've told you why. Let me back up for a second. I forgot to visualize. So, a few days ago, I was doing some research for this, and I read an article about a protest in the Bronx of New York, the South Bronx. It was a low-income district, and they were peacefully protesting, walking down the street, and they were surrounded by police officers, full riot gear, batons, shields, pepper spray, everything. And they blocked off both sides of the street that the protesters were on and blocked them in. It didn't give them any chance to disperse. They packed them in like sardines. And if nothing is done to keep these kind of things in check, then this could be the reality for protests for anything going on in the future. People might not be able to protest peacefully in the future because they're just not allowed to. They get shut down. They're not allowed to disperse. And in this speech, I've told you why police brutality is an issue, what we can do to solve it, and what it could look like in the future. If you want to change this, if you want to help bring change, then what you should do is go vote for officials and politicians that support ending police brutality. And really how this country looks in the future is in our generation's hands. Thank you.